Paddy and Harry nearly came to blows.
Ah.
Is this a Protektorat moment? Am I just steering you in a direction here?
Quite possibly, yeah.
What?
And you know, if you had someone around you that was clicking, you know, I used to go mental.
I can't believe I get in here and you say to me, have you sorted it yet? Hold on. Have I got something wrong here? Are you taking me to dinner or am I taking you to dinner? I'm getting just a bit peeved with this, to be honest, Paddy.
I'd rather have Michael Buckley's number.
So I'm organising dinner for myself. Is that what you're saying? I mean, you might as well not come and I'll just send you the bill.
I'm definitely coming.
I think this is a big moment for you. That the people will not accept this kind of behaviour. Like if you go out there and you go on terrestrial TV and get mentioned and you become a viral Paddy, but then you do not keep your word, that's a dangerous situation to get yourself into.
Definitely a man of my word, Matt. And then it will happen, but I do need your help in organising it. I can book the restaurant.
You sounded so, Joe Tizard there. You're helping organising it. That was very good. Right, okay, episode 8. Wow, who'd have thought it? Not me, to be quite frank. Episode 8, we made it to Unbridled. Wherever you're watching, if you're watching on YouTube, hi. Say hi, Paddy. Well, what a terrifically exciting person you are. And if you're listening in somewhere else in the world with no pictures, welcome to Unbridled episode 8. I'm looking forward to this episode. We're going to get to all those questions that we had no time for last week, and I can't wait. We're also going to do some nasty messages as well, just bring us back down to earth, because obviously you think you're some sort of YouTuber superstar now.
Celebrity.
We just need to rein it back in. But as always, I like to know what you've been up to, because you're a fascinating character. You lead an interesting life, partly because, of course, the missus is a nurse, so she sees real life while we kind of mix in this virtual, fictional world of horse racing. So what's been going on?
Yeah, look, it was great to get some racing back on at Foss last, so we could watch some racing. There was obviously good racing in Ireland. Watched a bit of that. Took an afternoon in the pub on Saturday with a couple of friends. Went on a bit longer than...
Wasn't Hendo and Buckers, was it?
No, it wasn't, no.
You haven't fed them and drunk them but forgotten about me, good.
No, it was.
Okay.
It went on a little bit longer than it should have.
Well, who was that then? Who were you down the pub with?
Young lads, very young. They made me feel young. A lad, Patrick McCarthy.
Patrick McCarthy.
Finn Lambert, Harry Skelton.
Finn Lambert.
Yeah.
Right.
Good lads.
Reprobates.
Anyway,
are you corrupting these lads, or are they corrupting you?
They corrupted me.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Sunday we got on the train down to London. We went to a restaurant called Scott's.
Oh, nice.
First ever experience.
Scott's is nice.
It was pretty wow, yeah, with some close friends. And then on stayed overnight, and then Monday went to Royal Marsden Hospital with a close friend of mine that's undergoing some treatment at the minute.
Oh, that doesn't sound so good.
It was a surreal experience, and yeah, seeing people in there. I used to think why my wife wouldn't feel sorry for me with a broken leg or a broken arm. I think I realised on Monday why.
I lost my dad. I mean, donkeys years ago now. I can hardly remember it, but he lost him to cancer, and I know at first hand, as most people do listening to this, it's very hard now not to have a member of your family somewhere along the way that you haven't experienced some sort of cancer treatment. But whoever you were with, is there some hopefully some light at the end of the tunnel? Could be some light.
There's always light, and get in the very best care. And what you learn there, Matt, is just to appreciate things a little bit more. In my lifetime, maybe selfish, trying to find happiness at times. You get on a plane, you go to Dubai, you jump in the pool. Nah, that didn't really make me happy. Buy a new car, last a week. Happiness isn't a destination. I've learned, and I really have. I've had to work extremely hard on finding happiness, and I found that it's here and now. It's not in an hour's time. And yeah, I just think anyone out there that's feeling it or is going through anything tough in life, you're not alone. It is tough, especially now more than ever. So always reach out, pick up the phone.
Give Paddy a call. Yeah. I mean, I agree with everything you've said. I would find it fun if you could just sort that dinner out, though. That would just make me feel as if the world is coming together. Right, BoyleSports are our sponsors. Thank you to BoyleSports for still being part of the show. No one thought you'd survive to episode 8 and put up with us, so thank you very much for that. We've got some Ascot tickets to give away for the big smash-up. Energumene, it's not going to be a smash-up, is it? But Jonbon's victory over Energumene, more of that later in the show. And we're going to go through all the questions that we didn't do. I promised that last week, and I'm going to do a proper section this time around. I know that's delighting my producer, Thomas, who has finally come to work not ill.
Yeah.
One of those sickly lads.
Good to see.
I don't like sickly lads, really. But he's a sickly lad. Everywhere goes, or he just doesn't come in at all, and he's just one of those. Anyway, he's now going, come on in here. No chance, Thomas. You come in sick every week, you get a mention. You can go and see Paddy's missus. She can sort you out in the hospital, cut something off. Yeah, we got some Ascot tickets to give away. And you were talking about going to the Marsden, and it brings us nicely just on to one topic I wanted to cover right at the top, which is Salvator Mundi, which, of course, was a painting, and it was a painting of the saviour. It was called the saviour of the world. And when you think of the Marsden, that's what we kind of need, isn't it? A saviour of the world. It's a spurious link, but I'm going to go with it. I'm a fan of Salvator Mundi. It's funny, isn't it? There are professional tipsters that write in certain articles at the moment in various newspapers. I'm not going to name them because people go crazy if you start naming people. But it's amazing when you read those articles, you think, how the hell have you ever become a professional tipster? Like, you just read them and you think, there's no way you've become a professional tipster. It's just ridiculous, or a professional punter, or whatever you want to call these people. Anyone who writes an article with the name professional punter or professional tipster, they should have some verification of the millions that they've made over the years, I always think. But anyway, people seem to slag this horse, and I understand. It's easy to slag. He didn't jump well the other day. He scraped home. Pace was crap. But my feeling with this horse, and it's only a guess, that in a strongly run gallop, from start to finish. You know the one thing, Paddy, about Salvator Mundi that no one's mentioned in all the analysis? His head carriage. Although he had headgear on, his neck was like a giraffe. It was so stretched out. It was like the longest neck on a horse in the world. I like that. And that is the reason I'm a believer as much as anything. Salvator Mundi, are you with or against?
No, I'm with. I think he did everything wrong.
He did.
And tactics is something I'm sure they'll talk about. For me, I think if it was a Supreme and there was not a lot going forward, I think he might enjoy it a lot more that way. He wears a hood mat. I'm not a massive fan.
You ever done that?
No, but I'm not a massive fan of a
private
hood.
life?
And especially a horse that's making the run-in. I think if I see a horse making the run-in with a hood on, I think, he did everything wrong. But the belief from the Mullins camp in that horse is so high. I think if I seen him in a Supreme, would you give him a chance? Definitely. Would you see him being ridden like he was Sunday? I'd say not. It's
a fascinating take on it, Paddy. I like it. BoyleSports are actually boosting this Mundi thing at the moment to 4-1 from 100 to 30. If that's the way you want to turn, you are getting a little bit extra. A lot of people do think it will be a bigger price on the day, which is possible. That's the risk you take. But a 4-1 from 100 to 30 with our kind sponsors. But Lecky Watson, I was really taken by this horse until the final couple of fences where his jumping went to pot, as did almost all the jumping in that race. But up until then, there was something quite tank-like about him. I liked him. What did you make of him in that novice chase?
Yeah, he did it. He did it really well. I thought the race was probably more run to suit him than any other horse in the race. I thought it was a very, very interesting race. The Gordon Elliott horse is JP's, and the other one, Something Glory. I thought they'd be Farad Glory. I thought they'd be interesting in handicaps in Cheltenham.
Yeah, for those who are just out there in the oblivion listening to this, we're talking about Punchestown and a Grade 3 chase where Lecky Watson bought to beat Down Memory Lane. Remember, he was the horse that came to Sandown. I still think there's a handicap in that
Yeah,
horse.
I
wouldn't take any notice of what he's doing in graded racing at the moment. Farron Glory is back in third. As I say, Lecky Watson, there was just something about him I liked. Head carriage was good, sort of just a relentless galloper. I think he's quite good. I don't know if he's a star.
Definitely, but like I say, he popped out. He was the best horse on the day, but I just thought that race in particular left the memory of a couple of handicaps. Plans in Cheltenham might have been in behind.
Yeah, with our sponsors, BoyleSports, they are our sponsors still at episode 8. They pushed Lecky Watson out to 16 from 12 for the Brown Advisory Novices Chase. Not on the back of that. That's a boost for Unbridled supporters. So if you do fancy taking that chance, 16 from 12, Lecky Watson for the Brown Advisory. James Bowen got trapped under a horse. He snuggled up for about half an hour. Then he was released. Horse was sedated. Everyone was fine. In the end, Bowen went and won the next race. I mean, just once again showing that you have to be crazy to be a jockey.
Yeah, I thought reading the reports on that, he was stuck under that horse longer than ideal, Ma.
It sounded like he felt the horse should have been sedated quicker.
Well, I don't know about sedation.
Or pulled off.
If you're inexperienced, you have to act quickly in that situation. Okay, James got up and he rode in the next race and was happy ever after, but I think more could be done. Get that horse off. I remember one situation I had in the Grand National where I had to go after a horse. It was an injured horse at JP McManus is in the Grand National. I had to go after him, and I caught him. And I had the horse I was riding. When I jumped off my horse to catch that horse, I had to make a decision. I couldn't hold a pair of them, so I had to let go of the horse that I was riding to look after the injured horse. Now I'm just trying to come up with an example how, in that situation, you need a little bit of experience. I don't know, there's ambulance following around in a race. Maybe there could be a car following them. Could have one or two lads that could act a little bit quicker.
It's an interesting one. With this one, I strongly got the feeling that those were there, that they were worried if they did anything. The hooves were so close to James's head that the horse could start. I think it was a case of, if we touch anything at this minute, the hooves could go and all hell could break loose. So I think it was a tricky one, but yes, clearly speed is of the essence, isn't it, if someone's trapped? Have you ever been, other than under Mrs. Brennan, have you ever been trapped under anything?
I have been trapped. It's a horrible feeling. But like, what you could see clearly when James's horse went down, he was extremely tired. I never had one trap for that long. That's a horrible feeling, and luckily everyone walked away.
I mean, it's a miracle, really. It's not as if these things are light.
No, exactly.
We've got a Japanese runner possible runner in the Champion Hurdle. We've had American runners. People remember Flatterer back in the day. That's quite a long time ago, Flatterer. He wasn't a bad hurdler, to be honest. Came over from America. But, I mean, to be honest, it's an interest. But all the world is not going to beat Constitution Hill. So
no, it's definitely an interest, and it's great that they're taking interest in Cheltenham Festival. It can only be good for English racing. So, yeah, hats off, and we'll welcome them.
You just accepted that statement. You didn't even say, well, Lossiemouth's going to... It seems like you've come round now. I
haven't come round. You mentioned Constitution Hill. I'm not. I'm still Lossiemouth.
Yeah, but you weren't. You just didn't come in.
Well, I didn't say the Japanese horse was going to win, did I?
Okay. I feel that you have come round. Although we still don't go to dinner. Blackstone Mountain, wasn't it? Remember, Rich Ritchie won the old cup thing, the big jump race out there.
Yeah,
one of probably the most valuable race Rich Ritchie's ever won.
Yeah, brilliant ride by Ruby.
What was it? The Nakayama Grand Jump, off the top of my head.
I don't think there's been a winner since him from England or Ireland, has there?
Ile-Francais, straight to Cheltenham. I still want it to run in the Champion Chase. They're umming and ahhing. I'm right. Are they going to make the right decision?
Well, they're saying it's the Gold Cup or the Champion Chase, isn't that right?
Or Ryanair?
No, they were sort of saying maybe not the Ryanair, from what I read yesterday.
Well, why would you leave that out of the combo?
Well, exactly. That's what I think. That's what I was thinking. That confused me.
Okay, I knew they were leaving out the Kempton run over 3 miles, but...
That did confuse me a little.
Well, in that case, it's the Champion Chase, because there's no way it's going to the Gold Cup. So the horse I mean, you'd have to be an absolute cretin to run it in the Cheltenham Gold Cup when the horse has clearly not stayed at Kempton. Not that I think that Kempton is an easy 3 miles, not like you cliché merchants. It's actually a testing 3 miles, I think.
Yeah.
Chester's testing.
Look, it's all ground dependent, yeah, but it left me confused that he wasn't in the Ryanair, and I suppose, yeah, like you said, Champion Chase is probably the more obvious race, but to think you might run in a Champion Chase or a Gold Cup over 3 mile too, Not sure about that.
Okay. They said they were going to sort of make the decision on the back of the Clarence House, which strongly suggests that the 2-miler, we'll get on to the Clarence House in a minute, but strongly suggests the 2-miler is really up here. Ascot tickets. We're going to give away some Ascot tickets.
Lovely. I'd like
2 pairs for the Clarence House. That's at Ascot, one of the world's great racecourses. Got 2 pairs. I mean, it's extraordinary that we can give away that many. It's this Saturday. All you need to do is comment below Jonbon or Energumene. It's a bit unfair on all the other runners, but you're either a Jonbon, you're either gold, yellow or white, or you're Energumene, blue and white, Tony Bloom, and we'll pick 2 winners. If you obviously only enter if you want to go to Ascot, because it'd be annoying if you win and then say, oh, go actually, but I wanted to win the competition. Well, you can't win it as such. All you do is got to comment. Jonbon or Energumene, not both, one or the other. Special guest time, Paddy. Now, our special guest today, you said to me, do not be late. So we record this show Wednesday mornings. We arranged 9:45. We were just 1 or 2 little technical hiccups. At 9:46, this jockey sent me a message saying, waiting. You were spot on, weren't you, about the timing? He doesn't like to be kept waiting. He is, of course, Paddy Power Cup leader, $500,000 almost in the bag. Harry Skelton. Morning to you, Harry.
Morning to you, lads. How are we?
Very good. Thanks so much for hanging on to us. I mean, first of all, have you already thought where this $500,000 will go?
Oh, no, not really. Got to keep going and get as many points as I can, Matt. There's plenty of people chasing me for it. So, but yeah, £500,000 would come in very handy, wouldn't it?
I mean, Pad, though, wouldn't Harry be one of the... I mean, he probably loaded anyway, isn't he? Like $500,000 would be a drop in the ocean for the Skeltons, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I don't. Harry would never strike me as the man that $500,000 would change his life. I think he gets a kick out of the simple things, hard work.
That's why he likes you.
Rory, he's young lad. Bridget, his wife. I think they're far more important than $500,000. But if he wins it, I'm sure he'll take us out for dinner.
It's funny you mentioned Bridget and the little one as well, because the one thing I've noticed, Harry, about you is, and I've loved it, I have to say, and to be honest, Gavin Sheehan's been the same. And I was a bit surprised with old naughty Gav. But with you, Harry, like when your little one's at the racetrack, you come out between races and you're cuddling up. It looks as though you've taken to fatherhood like a duck to water.
Wow, I'm doing my best anyway. I've even got my own mug now, look.
Oh,
Daddy
You
mug.
daren't touch that. You daren't touch it in the tack room.
Yeah, if that goes missing in our yard, there's trouble. There's trouble. Paddy had it once. That annoyed me. It annoys me most of the time.
I just thought Sam Twiston Davis had given you that mug because you're leading the table, like you're the daddy.
Yeah, well, I need to keep that yellow armband for the points. I need to keep hold of that mug as well. So anyone touches that, they're in trouble.
Right, we're going to go through some horses very quickly. Loda Sud. Now, he's not going to Windsor, is he? That means he'll go to Warwick?
Yeah, you're right. He's going to go to Warwick. We just think a bit longer, do him no harm. Warwick was always our main aim, to be honest. It was always where we wanted to go. So that's where we're sticking to. He's in good form. About to school him now, actually. I'll be doing that 4 lot.
Yeah, I think Harry, with him, it was an interesting entry, but I think it's the right decision. I do think another week and somewhere like Warwick. The one thing I see at the minute with a lot of these tracks, Harry, is the word good to soft. Well, I think you know as well as I do. Most tracks you're going to be riding over the next few days, they're going to have very little good to soft in them. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, the ground's very testing at the minute, especially after all that frost. I agree with you. He definitely wasn't as good as he could be, probably in the Henry VIII, but he got the job done and he won ugly. And sometimes you need to do that. You need that in a horse. But he was definitely better at Cheltenham on a bit better ground. So we're just going to wait and we'll go to Warwick on the 8th.
Obviously, we all see him as a leading contender for the Arkle, Harry. Is that how you see it at this minute?
Yeah, definitely. Like, he's definitely put his hat in the ring, hasn't he? He's done nothing wrong. Look, Warwick's a big day. It's a grade 2. He's already got a grade 1 in the bag. After that, unfortunately, life is going to become very difficult because we're going to head towards the Arco, have to take on a Sergino and all them. But, that's going to be a bigger test awaits him. And hopefully we get to Cheltenham in one piece and we can give it a good shot.
Hard question for you to answer, Harry, but that's what this show, I think people have become accustomed. That's what this show is all about. Is Lodasud a good horse? Like a really good horse? But is he a special horse? Like, as in, an extraordinary horse? What would you say at the moment?
I'd say he's a good horse, and he's done nothing wrong over fences. He's won a Grade 1, he's won a Grade 2. Paddy, I'll tell you, any race is hard to win. And to try and win a Grade 1, people say, "Oh, it was an easy Grade 1." Well, you try winning them.
Yeah, it drives me up the wall.
Because I've never ridden in any that are easy to win.
A bit like the Gold
Cup.
Yes,
going forward, he's going to have a bigger task ahead when he takes on a Sergino. So that'll tell us, won't it? But look, we're happy to have him in our yard, and we see him as a very good horse. And Cheltenham will tell us a little bit more.
What were you saying, Pat?
Yeah, sorry, Harry. I was just saying, any Grade 1, a lot of these races, you even heard the word sometimes, it's not a great Gold Cup. Any Grade 1 I was lucky enough to win, or any race like a Gold Cup, I used to grab that number cloth, and I promise you, I used to make sure I took it home, because you earn it. You don't get in them races and get lucky. You really, to win any Grade 1, you really have to be a very, very good horse. And no matter how good or bad it is, until you win him, you can't say it's a bad race.
Yeah, 100%. Like at Sandown, the ground was really testing, and to be honest, after I jumped the first 2 fences, he was giving me a different feel that he'd given me before, and I thought, geez, this isn't ideal. Down the back, he was much better, and then he crossed over onto the hurdles track, where they cross over, and it was really testing again, and then we had to fight for it. Like you say, they ain't easy to win. It's even in the Henry VIII, you look, like he'll jump round, he'll win, but that just shows you that wasn't easy. They're hard races to win. Just
remember though, Harry, they are easier to win as long as you don't deck them at the top of the hill like Q-Card. Right. I mean, one thing, if you're going to try and win it, Pad, don't deck them. That was your problem, wasn't it? You tried to be Richard Johnson at the top of the hill. Anyway, let's move on. Protektorat. I was very lucky. I have to say this. I'm going to blow my own trumpet here, because I latched on to Skelton and Skelton at Cheltenham 2024. I absolutely smashed it. Unexpected Party and Protektorat. And Protektorat, I loved him. I loved the way he jumped, Harry. He had freedom in the middle of the pack, not stuck down the rail like he did on his comeback run. He just had the freedom of the track, and he was special. He goes in the Fleur de Lis at Windsor at the weekend, going the way round that he likes, yeah?
Yeah, back left-handed. To be fair, Matt, I'll give you a bit of credit. You were right. We dropped back to the Ryanair, and he won. So thank you very much for your input leading into Cheltenham.
He said that through the most gritted teeth. He doesn't mean a word of it, does he? Like, can you imagine Dan taking anything from the likes of me? But I'll take it, Harry. I'll take it, even though I know you don't mean it.
No, look, every time I saw you kept banging on about it. So, look, you were right. Yeah, he's going to go to the Fleur de Lis on Sunday. He's in good form. Look, the last day at Huntingdon was a disaster, to be honest. I couldn't go anywhere. He likes to go left-handed. When I was trying to follow the winner down the back through the middle, sort of through Harry Cobden and Brian Hughes, I jumped out to the left and landed on Harry's heels a few times, and I just couldn't make any ground up until I turned into the straight. He prefers to go left-handed, and that's what it is on Sunday. So great prize money down there. So we're looking forward to it.
Harry, I'm not sure if you rode on the chase track in Windsor on the first meeting back, but for me, it looks like it'll really suit him around there. Did you ride over fences, and how did the track ride last time?
Yeah, I did. Rode over fences around there. Had 2 rides. To be honest, both horses have had a long time off, but there's a lot of fences which I think will suit him. I think you've got to get into a good rhythm. But I think the complexion of a race could change very quickly. That's a long sweeping bend, leaving the back straight, and then you run that round a sharp dog leg right-handed bend into the straight, and you got 3 quick fences. So yeah, it's not going to be easy. It's but I think you're going to need a horse that can get into a good rhythm and jump well. So hopefully he can do that.
So that's interesting, Harry. That was one of the points that came out of that first meeting at Windsor, and I'd forgotten it until you've just mentioned that. Quite a few jockeys came back, didn't they? And they said it's not a track you really want a deep closer on. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I felt that watching a few races in the races I rode in, the 2 chases that I was in, the race changed very quickly. Don't know why that was. Maybe the ground. We hadn't obviously ridden there before, so might ride. Jockeys might ride a bit differently there on Sunday if they've ridden there at the first meeting. So it's going to be softer ground again, isn't it? It's always quite wet down there.
Like what you find with Harry are most top jockeys that I've worked with or ridden against. Harry will have an idea about Windsor. He ain't going to tell us, you or me. So
Is he worried about me outriding him?
No, but you have little things about racetracks, Harry, up your sleeve. You don't want to give it away. You'll have a plan, and if I sometimes see jockeys come on and do interviews and they give away too much. You can say a lot without saying anything. And he'll know when he goes to Windsor.
What an exciting podcast this will be. Won't it?
There'll
Come
be
and listen to Harry, who's going to say a lot for 20 minutes, but say nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, you should try and work with this lad every week, Harry. It's hard. I mean, fancy doing a podcast with someone who doesn't want to say anything. I mean, what the use is that? Anyway, yeah, he has a point.
To be honest, the amount us 3 can talk, this podcast could go on for about 2 hours.
Okay, let's move on then quickly, Harry. It's a good point, well made, and we've still got the funny bits to get to. Just the new Lion. Obviously, you're not going to say he's rubbish because he's not rubbish, and also, JP's just had to mortgage half of Ireland to buy him. But if Loda Sud is at this stage good or quite good, is the new Lion special to you?
Yeah, he's special to me because he's probably one of the best novice hurdlers we've got in the yard. The novice hurdlers have done well this year, but he's certainly right up there, probably flying the flag. And really looking forward to Cheltenham with him.
Can I just ask you one thing with him? The Supreme is wide open. He's not devoid of speed. We all expect him to go over further. Is it impossible that you would still, if the ground was quite testing, say, just look at the 2-mile race, or is that in your mind completely out of the picture?
No, he'll have an entry in the Supreme as well, Matt. Just like you say, we'll keep our options open, and we'll see nearer the time.
Hold on, is this a Protektorat moment? Am I just steering you in a direction here?
Quite possibly, yeah.
What? Hold on, bombshell news on Unbridled. Harry, this is fabulous stuff.
No, I think, look, great minds think alike, Matt. So, yeah, we'll enter him in the Supreme as well. I'll go and tell Dan there in a minute. I'll go and tell Dan. Matt says make sure we enter him in the Supreme.
And the answer
give Frank a call.
Yeah,
give Frank a call for us.
The answer. Yeah. Oh, can you imagine Frank? Anyway, that's Frank Berry for those watching. Racing manager JP McManus, who tells you nothing. Whatever he does tell you, you do the opposite. But yeah, we love Frank and AP and all of them. Right, okay, so we'll see where he goes. Langer Dan. I mean, it's about the moment he gets some ulcers, isn't it?
Do you know what, Matt? Funny you just said that because
he's got ulcers. Don't tell me he's got ulcers.
We took him to Cheltenham. We took him to Cheltenham last time, and he was all confused getting off the lorry. He couldn't realise. He couldn't really work out why there was no leaves on the trees. He didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, well, you don't have to talk about Langer Dan if you want, because I don't think you're going to say much.
Oh no, look, I just think the only thing I would say, and Paddy's seen him around and about the place. Paddy comes in once a week.
To do what?
Langer Dan's a mind of his own, and like the last day, to be honest, he ran awful. But the only way you can get him sharpened up and get him race fit is by getting him out there and running, because he doesn't join in too much at home. He's a hard horse to get plenty of work into. He only does the bare minimum, and he's going to run again at Windsor on Sunday.
Lovely.
Or I think it's Friday, actually. He's going to run again at Windsor on Friday. That's 2 weeks after Cheltenham now. everyone thought we'd been smart. Like, why would we be running him again? Because you need to get him out there, need to get his blood up to tighten him up and get him race, sort of match fit. And it's very hard to do that at home with him. He's a crafty character now.
Well, as is your brother. And luckily for you, Harry, despite all this craftiness of the horse and his laziness and his not willing and his wanting for leaves, etc., or not wanting leaves, come March, he just seems to just finds his mojo, just like that. So don't worry at the moment, Harry, because brother has got the master plan. So don't you worry about that. Fortune de Mer, quite useful.
Yeah, no, decent horse, plenty of ability. He's going to run in the Champion Bumper.
Okay, right. All of this has been great fun, particularly the bit about the new Lion. But obviously the best bits are the dirt bits, the stories. And you know what, Harry? You should take this as a compliment, I think. But Christ, you appear to be the most boring man on earth. To try and find anyone with any dirt on you is hard. I started with Sam Twiston Davis. This was his response.
He's a hard one. Wouldn't have much now, no. Good soldier. Nick Schofield would be the person to ask from their Nichols days.
Okay, so we got nowhere there. Then we came back to him a little bit later.
Schofield and Ian Popham are the two who you might be able to get something from. But, yeah, as long as I've been riding, he's been a good egg now. Well behaved. I like the rest of us.
Yeah, so he's a good egg. He's well behaved. That was really boring. So then think, okay, I've got to dig further. So I went to Schofield. Smiley Schofield. He's meant to be one of your best mates. You think he'd have something? And this is what he said.
Morning, Matt. Geez, good question. I'm actually really struggling, to be honest. He's squeaky clean.
Jesus.
Used to annoy me, Ian Popham, and the lads that were at Nichols's, because he'd get in at 6 every morning, and it would make us all get in early. He's one of them people, didn't drink, always sober and always at the gym, and so yeah, he's pretty squeaky clean.
Okay, Scott, I'm bored of you already. But finally, you can always rely on Nikolai Chastel de Boinville, Paddy and Harry. And finally, actually, I'll tell you one other person I went to was who else did I go to? I went to Nichols. Nichols said to me, he did say this. I don't know what this means. He said, definitely not squeaky clean, but most stories unrepeatable. Well, that's just nonsense, isn't it? It doesn't help me at all. But then this came through from the one and only rider of Sagino.
Hi, Matt. So there was this one day at Hereford. Paddy and Harry nearly came to blows. And I think the words were, Harry used, "You've made your bed, now lie in it," to Paddy. So it might be worth asking them about Hereford. And
Right, Hereford, lads.
Did that Chastel do nothing but go around sitting in that weigh room wondering what everyone else was doing? What?
He wants to get on with his life, that Nick.
Yeah, he does. You said it, Harry.
He's so
honestly
boring.
Chippy.
Well, he's the only one who can find anything interesting about you. Tell me about Hereford, Harry.
It was that bad. Paddy wasn't even. I don't think Paddy was even riding in the race.
I was following you and David England, and I felt you were just putting him in the hedge a bit. I'm down. You know that famous leaved hedge down you used to flick out just as you turned out the back in Hereford, and you'd always race for the rail. And David England was sort of trying to get up in his outer. There wasn't any stewards needed, but I could see plenty of David England's left boot taking plenty of leaves off that hedge.
Harry?
Yeah, we were in it was a bumper, and the ground was quite cut up. And to be honest, I'll blame sort of Andrew Thornton for this or something, because he was the master at finding a bit of fresh ground. And anyway, round Hereford, last race, bumper, ground's cut up badly. Anyway, I was in front of Dave England at the time. Anyway, going across the top, through the wings of 2 out, I just felt this horse coming to my outside. Anyway, I wasn't having any of it, and it just started to just drift out to my left, and David England was a bit tight against the gardens and the railings of the houses at the top there at Hereford. And anyway, I squeezed him up a bit, I can't even remember if I won the race.
No, I don't think you did, Harry.
I don't think any of us won the race.
No,
anyway,
we didn't.
It got a bit tight. Dave had to snatch up. Anyway, we come back into the weighing room, and Dave had nothing to say, but Paddy had plenty to say because it was his problem or his issue that I was squeezing David England up. Anyway.
Yeah.
And
well, Harry sat next to me for a long time. He always knew sometimes I had to find a problem, probably to make myself feel better. But just quickly, Harry, because we know you got to get on. There's one subject, like you go back and you mentioned Andrew Thornton there. You go on about the fast lane. We find the fast lane in racing. I watched you ride a bumper horse at Exeter, and just from the minute you jumped off, you miss people like Andrew Thornton, Paul Maloney, Ruby Walsh probably, but there was always lads that would just have the initiative to jump off in a race and go their own route. And that's what, the fast lane, you don't see it as much with the younger lads, but I love to watch it.
Yeah, like picking your ground is always something, I've got a free rein to do. And yeah, if I think we can find a bit of fresher ground somewhere and it can help, then that's the way we'll go. Some people don't like it, but talk about the old weighing room there. Like, I feel so lucky that I came into racing and into that weighing room when I did. Sat next to Paddy for years, fell out with him for years, many a times. But to have him sat at the top of our tree in our corner of our valets was unbelievable. To have him there, experience, and I think Ruby, AP, Dickie, Noel Feely, I could go on and on about the jockeys who you look up to. And I used to watch and try and just take a bit out of all their riding careers. But Paddy was obviously the senior one in our corner, and I would say he's been one of the biggest influences in my career that has passed on that knowledge that he's got. And
thanks very much, Harry.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say how not to be, but anyway.
No,
but
no,
yeah.
it like it is. We're probably a bit too alike. I suppose we both wear our heart on our sleeve. We've had a few head bangers together. He wasn't keen on me, Matt, though, to start with. I do remember to start with when I first came in the weighing room. My dad always told me, dress smart, make sure you got clean shoes, make a good impression. You never know who you might meet. Anyway, so I turned up. I think I had my first ride at Exeter. Christian Williams took me to the race, and I turned up, shirt, tie, smart shoes. And anyway, it's a daunting place when you first walk in there. And after a while, Paddy wasn't keen that I had like smart shoes. And I always remember he'd always take the mick out of me for like being too well dressed or, and it took a bit of time, I think, for him to warm to me. But no, we certainly miss him in the weighing room. And he's been, massive part of my career. And yeah.
Before we say goodbye,
I actually, Matt, I owe him a lot because he's taught me an awful lot.
That's nice.
Thank you.
That's
Harry.
nice. That's nice, Paddy. Well, and we shouldn't forget, because Harry has been glowing about other riders, but we shouldn't forget, Harry, we are talking to a champion jockey. He's been a champion jockey, the best of the best, and that is the ultimate in this sport. Okay, I've got two very quick questions now. We know that you work with a man who is incredibly jealous of you. You are good looking, you are squeaky clean, you are fit, you don't drink, you're in the gym. So there is incredible jealousy between Dan and yourself behind the scenes. But despite that, how much pleasure would you get if he is champion trainer, which essentially I reckon he already is. He is the champion trainer. He'll never say that at this stage. I cannot see what Mullins can do to deny your brother. So this is a big thing in the sport. How much would that mean?
That would mean everything, Matt. I can sit here now and say if I want one thing to happen this season above everything that I'm going for, it is to be champion trainer, 100%, because I know what he put in to make me champion jockey. I've been champion jockey. That was my year, 2020, 2021. It was a battle. It was hard fought. and I got great satisfaction out of it. Me and Brian went toe to toe, head to head, and head to head. Make no mistake of it. Back then, me and Brian were again very similar, hungry, probably went about things maybe not the right way to win, but we were winners and we are winners. But Dan gave everything to make me champion jockey, and now one thing is for sure, I'd give everything up to make him champion trainer this year, and that is a forefront of our mind.
Yeah, and to do that, there must be loads of dark horses that are about to. We just need one, Harry, with an owner that doesn't mind you giving it away. Just one for our viewers that we can latch onto.
Panic Attack runs on Friday at Windsor. First time ever fences for us, stepping up to 2.5 miles. She's ran really nicely the last twice. I think she'll have a big chance. And maybe one, don't know really.
Harry, just quickly, because I know you got to get on live. Conti, what's the plan and how is he?
Yeah, scored him this morning. Looking forward to him. Sometimes those French horses, they don't just bang the doors down early. We find that they can just take a bit of time to come to hand and settle in, but he's going really nicely. I think he'll run in a juvenile hurdle or 4-year-old hurdle now in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, I think Panic Attack will go well, and then I suppose further down the line, well, I'll tell you actually, Belle Legrand. There you go. Paddy will tell you all about her
Syndicate.
now.
Okay, very good. Like that.
Yeah.
Actually, I always do this every interview I do. Got one more quick one. Bridge. Is she going to come back riding? Because she's a really, really good jockey. Like, is she going to come back, or is that it?
No, Bridge is done. Bridge is retired.
What, forever?
Yeah.
Do you see the sacrifice she has made to you to produce?
Yeah, look, she's got a new job, a new role in life now, something that she's settled into, like I always thought she would, taking it to like a duck to water, really, being a mother. She has to Rory, and life moves on, Matt. She she had an unbelievable career, won more than she ever thought she might. 2 Cheltenham Festival winners, graded winners, rode out a claim, and come out the back of a nasty injury at Warwick, broke her neck, came back riding. She's very thankful to what the sport's given her, but no, you won't see her back on the racetrack again. She rides out now every morning and has a full-time job looking after Rory.
Well, sounds like she is a key player in trying to get you the $500,000, which of course means that you're going to have to split it half and half. Harry, thanks ever so much. We've gone way over the time. I think you've missed second, third, fourth lot, but that's good because that means someone has scored load of sud for you and you don't have to risk anything. Really appreciate all your time. I apologise, it's gone on way longer than you agreed to, and from what Paddy was saying, I know how annoyed you'll be, so thank you.
Thanks so much, Harry. Have a good day.
No worries.
Cheers.
Cheers, lads.
Cheers.
Be lucky. This weekend's racing is fantastic.
It is. Clarence House Chase, grade 1.
Racing, go this weekend.
Jonbon or Energumene. Simple.
Jonbon. But, yeah, Jonbon. He's not unbeatable, but Everton is probably more in his favour this weekend.
Okay. You come in here every Wednesday. You look me in the eye. And you say, I've done some proper research for the show this time. So I'm going to test that right now. How many 11-year-olds have won the Clarence House Chase?
Undersaw, was he 11? 1.
1. Correct. Good research. Well done. Yes, only 1. But when that horse won the Clarence House, it wasn't the same race. It was a handicap, and that 11-year-old won off 10 stone, getting 2 stone from the good horses. So you were... I mean, Energumene's just too old, isn't he? He's too old.
He's not. He hasn't got loads of miles on the clock, and it was like
what does that make?
Look at his Cork run, Banbridge, probably going to beat that. I know it came down at the last run, seated, but that was no bad run.
So I buy a motor car from 1980. Yeah. It's done 1,000 miles. Doesn't have sat nav. So it's useless.
No, it's not.
So it's too old. Because times have changed. When I used to drive with the old man, you sit in the car with the old man, you got maps on your lap. Now you have sat nav. So when you're too old, Doesn't matter whether you haven't got miles on the clock. You still know you're no use to anyone. Did beat the King George winner last time out. There is a boost.
It's probably it's great value that. And if you're right about Saturn having old cars, then it's going to win, isn't it?
Winter Millions. What have we made of it so far? The entries were good. We've got some good horses on Friday, good horses on Sunday. Protektorat we've already heard about in the Fleur de Lis. Coolwell Potter?
Yeah. Coolwell Potter is obviously a warm favourite. Is he unbeatable? Absolutely not.
Well, he's been beaten bad, so that kind of answers.
No, I know, but at that price, even money, Matt, he's not a good thing, is he? I thought the horse of Ben Paulings was interested in that. And if I was riding against Coolwell Potter, I wouldn't be giving him an easy lead.
Well, having a look, just 4 in there, aren't there? Coolwell Potter, You Wear It Well, Gidley Park, Personal Ambition. I love Personal Ambition. He's a good horse. I loved him as a hurdler.
And you know, the jumps come
Not
up.
going to win this, though.
The jumps come up around there, come up good and fast. That might suit Coolwell Potter, but.
Well, I'm hoping they're going to completely change tack with this horse. I want the most aggressive Paddy Brennan ride ever from the front on this horse. Use his jumping, because I think he's a magnificent jumper. You remember at Carlisle?
Yeah.
When everyone freaked out because he went enthusiastically into the first fence. I want him to be driven into the first fence and jump it like a gazelle.
Yeah, but would it not worry about the way he finished last time?
It was over a longer trip.
Was it?
Paddy, Coolwell Potter ran over 2 mile 4.5 last time.
Okay, right, I'll take that back.
I mean, was it? What kind of research is that? Yeah.
But I still, you know what I mean? You say that, it's not as easy in them races. That'll be tactical. And
Well, in a
You're not just
4-runner
gonna
race, how hard is it?
you're not just going to hand it to me, yeah?
Jeez.
Get upsides him.
God, I'm beginning to see why Piper dead heated with you now. If you can't work out this kind of thing, if Cobden cannot get that horse to the front, there is something very wrong.
But I wouldn't let him get to the front if I was taking him on.
Well, there is a problem, of course, because Personal Ambition is going to bomb off in front. So
yeah.
you're not wrong.
But the trip's interesting there, definitely. You know, dropping back to 2 mile, that might suit him. But as I say, he finished fairly tamely up the hill last time.
Yeah, that's Coolwell
What trip
Potter.
it was.
There's a good little handicap chase as well. Johnny Who. Oh, he's interesting now. He's going handicapping. Johnny Who.
I'm sure they just stuck a race in, or a new race in Windsor, an extra race, didn't they? Novice chase on Sunday.
Yeah, they stuck a grade 2 in there. We haven't got the decks
Yeah, but
at the time.
that's where
talking.
Johnny Who is. I've seen he has an entry in there, and he'd be more likely probably to run in that.
Well, even though he's been declared at Windsor on Friday.
Has he?
Yes.
How can you see that?
Because the decks are through. Because
It can't be true.
We are. We're talking on Wednesday.
Is he
7
declared?
runners. 7 runners. I mean, do you want to go against me here?
No, it's fine if he's declared, but I don't know how you can see them so early on that.
Because, Paddy, I am right on this game. I am like a sizzling, red, hot, burning, shining light on being up to date with information.
Right, okay, well, I just thought that new race was interesting and a great initiative by the BHA to put that race in.
Well, it is, but he's not running in it.
No, I'm just saying, though, they're acting, they're doing stuff. They put Foss Lass on. It's good to see.
Okay. This section has not gone particularly well for you so far. There's that stakes hurdle as well. Blue King Daru, 5 declared. Salva, Namir Lion, Langadan, and Iberico Lord back hurdling. He'd be the outsider, but he's clearly a Betfair hurdle winner. It's a tricky race, isn't it? Because any of those actually could win if they produce their best.
Salver loved the ground, wasn't he?
Yeah,
He took a heavyish fall last time.
I just don't know if he's quite as good as we want him to be.
What do you like in that?
Well, Namian Lan is a very, very solid handicap.
Love the ground.
Yeah, love the ground. He's a 10-1. Well, he's not going to be a 10-1 shot. Sorry, the odds sometimes graded. And Kerry Lee hasn't had the rub of the green last year. It would be a huge prize for her. Wish her well. Sunday, of course, we don't have decks, Paddy, so you can get away with saying anything at this stage. But that Fleur de Lis chase obviously is very much taking centre stage. Jello against Protektorat round 2. I mean, Protektorat was hopeless at Huntington. I didn't think it was Harry's finest moment. I didn't say that earlier, so perhaps I'm being a bit pathetic not having said that to his face. Pick Dory would be interesting against Jello because they both go from the front, don't they? But Jello doesn't have to lead. Actually, he didn't lead at Huntington, did he?
I'm sure the Jello would have been getting a bit of weight off Protektorat last time as well. In that, maybe not loads of weight, but I reckon he would have got penalty off him for Grade 1.
Jello 11.7, Protektorat 11.10, £3.
So it's £3. But I do look, Harry. You can say it didn't work out. No one will know that more than him and Dan. You try something, tactics didn't work, so I think you'll see Protektorat back to his very best here. A lot of things in his favour here.
Got this unbeaten JP horse, Indiana Dream.
First run for John Joe.
It's hard to see it winning those. Very hard.
Very hard when you get a horse out of Willie's.
Yeah.
Very
and
hard.
if Ahoy Senor ran, he's what I like to call the joker in the pack. He's one of those, if he won, no one's surprised, are they? But he's quite hard to punt, I think. Is that fair?
Yeah, and I'm not sure how much Windsor would have suited him. I don't know what your take from Windsor was, but funny track. It's different. Fences come up quick, and he could take 2 with him.
Okay. I'm going to prepare myself now, Paddy, for questions. Last week, we let you down, and for that, I am disappointed, and I apologise from the heart. Because we didn't go through the questions, Pad, and we said we would, and I've always said this to Sickly Tom, that if we ask our viewers something and we don't deliver, we let ourselves down, we let our sponsors down, we let our viewers down. But this week we make up for it. So we're going to do viewers' questions for quite a bit of the show. Obviously, some of this with the benefit of hindsight, because these were from a week ago. This was the only question that mattered a week ago from Daz. When is Paddy taking Matt for his free dinner? It's at no point in even going there, Daz. We've been there already on the show, and it's a question that all of us are asking as Paddy continues to fail himself. This was a good one from DM. He says, who does Paddy think was better sportsman in their prime, Paul Townsend or Andy Townend?
Paul Townend.
Very good answer. You got exactly where he was coming from there. If you're listening to this show for the first time, the great thing about actually Unbridled is I think all the shows are timeless. So go back to episode 1 and enjoy. But Paddy has a problem with Paul Townend because he thinks he's called Paul Townsend. If Paddy was still riding, who would he ride if he had the choice as of today in the Supreme, Turners, and Novices Hurdle or Albert Bartlett? Is there any horse in particular at the moment that's grabbing you in any of those races, Pad?
The New Lion.
In what, though?
Yeah, good question. It's open to debate, but I imagine it'll be the Turners.
Okay. Ryan Draper, as a jockey, would you rather finish the season as champion jockey or win the Grand National?
Oh, definitely the Grand National.
Okay. Which... Really, more than champion jockey?
Yeah, look, it's 2 different things, whatever you're into, but if you said to me over my career, which race would you like to have won the Grand National or be champion jockey? I'd love to have won the Grand National.
What was your best finishing position in the Grand National? Did you ever?
Second.
What was that on?
St. Ar's. Felt like I was catching many clouds the whole way up the running, but he was a warrior. That was as close as I got.
Completely outridden.
By the great Leighton Aspel.
Yeah. Adam Perkins says, Paddy, favourite winner you rode at Aintree?
Favourite winner I rode at Aintree was probably God's Own when Vatour fell the first down the back. Never forget that day. There was a man stood by that first fence down the back in a fluorescent jacket, and I think Vatour took his eye off the fence and looked at him, and he was down.
And I'm also asked, this is interesting, he said, would Kyber Kim have won the Aintree Hurdle if Celestial Halo hadn't fallen?
That's a great question. And I did feel when I hit the line that day, I got very lucky. Ruby got injured in that fall. But yeah, I couldn't say I definitely won that day. That was one you win some, you lose some. I got lucky enough that day, I'd say.
This is a nasty question off the top of your head. Paddy, Cal wants a lucky 15 for Cheltenham. That's 4 horses, Pad. Have you got 4 horses you could think that you think are good things that you put in the lucky 15? Really, with this, the essential thing is that they just win.
Lossy Mouth.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, forget this question. You've already lost. Actually, put in the other 3. Come on.
Lossy Mouth. Jonbon. The New Lion. And Fortune Demar in the bumper of Skeltons. Is that his name?
Yeah. But trying to pick the bumper winner is quite ridiculous.
I just did.
What, like you picked the Christmas Hurdle winner?
Yeah. Right, next question.
Jamie says, anything stand out for the Grand National at the moment? He says he likes Beauport, trained by Nigel Twiston Davis. I mean, you're a Twisty groupie, of course, so you probably like that as well, don't you?
Yeah, Beauport, yeah, an interesting horse. But I thought the horse of Paul Nichols, that won the Hennessy's, he's got a good plan with that one.
Horse race, yeah.
That would be an interesting runner. Can Do Kid.
Can Do Kid, who, that form has worked out well. At the time, we were all saying, oh, this is a rubbish race and la-di-la-di-la. Hennessy back to its glories. Right. Horse Racing 2 says, which would be the best storyline at this year's Cheltenham Festival?
Which would be the best storyline? Energumene, probably. Comeback kid.
Who was the horse that ran out that Michael Nolan nearly got? Tommy Bow.
Yeah, Tommy Bow.
If Tommy Bow won the cross country,
that's great
for the owners.
Yeah,
that would be a great storyline. It probably won't happen. Which one did you say? Sorry, I wasn't really listening.
Energumene.
Okay. Would that be a great story?
Why not? He missed a year. He's come back.
I mean, surely the great stories are the owners who, the real whacker type of owners and that kind of stuff.
It's just one that sprung to mind.
Yeah, clearly you hadn't thought about that very much. What has been your biggest... This is a good question. This is Mark. I'm going to get his full name. Mark Litherland. What's been your biggest bust-up in the weighing room?
Biggest bust-up, it was probably Darryl Jacob one day at Huntington. Yeah, I was fuming. But again, like a story earlier, it probably wasn't a fight I was involved with, and I managed to get myself involved. And that got a bit out of hand. You
managed to pick a fight with the Mr. Nice guy of the weighing room. Was Darryl not as nice as...
Oh, Darryl was a good lad, but he was like a radio sometimes in that weighing room. I used to say, Darryl, just turn it down.
What were you like?
Perfect. No, I was probably grumpy, moody, but sometimes I was nice.
Scotty says he fancies Jello for the Ryanair. He's struggling to get a handle on the Ryanair, though. Ryanair is tricky. Protectorat could easily, if he wins the Fleur de Lis, he could easily go in again. He's lovely.
Banbridge is solid enough, I'd say.
If he runs, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say he will run.
Would you run him in the Gold Cup or Ryanair?
Ryanair. Well, question of a doubt.
AJ says, could Ile France beat Jonbon in the champion chase? He thinks he could easily. He's not going to beat him easily, is he?
No, he's not going to. Well, he might do. He might go 20 lengths in front and stay there. But, when you look at a picture, Matt, and it's framed, I can't really see it in there, can you?
When people make... Sorry, anyone who's watching on or listening on Spotify wonder what we're going on there. I was just thinking. What you have to remember, I think Jonbon's rated 170 at the moment off the top of my head. When you talk about if he runs to form, like there's no horse out there who could, not even Constitution Hill, if it was a hurdle race, or Mark Himes is going to beat him easily, although of course he has beaten him easily in the past. But you have to be realistic. I mean, it's a 170 horse. Ile France is not going to be a 180 horse, essentially. So it's not going to be easy, I think. I still think that race is gagging for a front runner, like Ile France is it. Again, Finley wanted to know about Ile France. Here comes Ben. Q Card and Imperial Commander jumped the last together in the Gold Cup. Who are you riding in the finish?
Imperial Commander.
Yeah, that's right. You've got no time for the one you decked. Sam says, would you ever talk to your horse in a race?
Always.
What did you used to say?
Oh, the keen ones, Matt, you'd be just begging them to calm down. Just calm down. You're breaking my arms here. Just, whoa, son, whoa. And, if you had someone around you that was clicking, I used to go mental. I used to go, this isn't a pony club.
Well, it's one of the few points you've made in this show that I cannot disagree with. Tom Alsop, Long Presse, any chance in the Gold Cup?
Nah, chance of being third.
Charles says, after Darren Yates' comments, he's not happy about the way owners are treated. Do you think owners could be treated better?
Absolutely. Some tracks I go to, as I'm a Paddy Brennan Racing Syndicate owner now, you got to compliment so many tracks, Matt, but there's always going to be tracks that could improve. And look, an owner can get the most amazing experience. Haydock, for example, springs to mind. Stratford, just to name a couple. But you got to, if you catch up with them, it can, it will improve. But if Darren Yates is having a bad experience winning a Grade 1, then we're all in trouble.
Christoph says, why is it jumps racing is only popular in France, Britain and Ireland?
Yeah, good question. America's not too bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think ground is the key. Like, you can't really run jumps horses on firm ground all the time. So you can run some meetings in Japan, some meetings in America, some meetings in Australia. But although Australia's just finished, haven't they? But I think that's the biggest problem with an industry. These are horses that generally need to run on softish ground. And there's the history there. You know, beach volleyball is bigger in hot countries than it is in cold countries for obvious reasons. You freeze your nuts off.
You ever watched any?
Beach volleyball. Sometimes I have it on speed dial. Right. Paul says, what happened to Howard Johnson?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what did happen, Paddy? Did he sack you?
Yeah, do you know what? I was nearly sacked in Howard Johnson's after 3 weeks.
And then you were sacked after 4 weeks?
Year.
Mm.
Yeah. That was an experience. Bloody hell.
Okay, we've done the nice questions. I'm going to go through a few others now. I'm going to end on some nasty ones because got about 3 or 4 minutes for these. I'm going to rip through these. Lee Richardson. Never forgot Paddy's ride on Tripoli Flyer at Ascot. He cost me a fair few quid for my fourth leg of my lucky 15. Anything you'd like to say to Lee about Tripoli Flyer?
Well, I'm pretty certain it wasn't Ascot.
Yeah, well, that's how he remembers it.
Well, he must be entry. One, he's got to get the facts right of where the race was. And two, I'm sorry.
Jack Byrne has been on. Is Matt Chapman thinking of changing career? Bloody useless as a racing pundit. Looks like he's gained over 5 stone in his bid to conquer Japan and the sumo wrestling world.
Jack, do you want to come on the show?
I'd love to see what Jack looks like. Tony Hopkins. Rich Ritchie. Remember we had Rich on? He said Rich is a very decent bloke. We all met him at Cheltenham preview night in Leeds Town Hall. He came on the train and walked up with some racing fans because he didn't know where the hall was. They were amazed when they realised who he was, and he bought the whole table drinks. Top man, and the fans loved him. That's nice to hear, isn't it?
Yeah.
These are all little snippets that were on the bottom of our YouTube. We've got quite a lot of messages down there. Most of them, I have to say, actually are really nice, so thank you. But, you know, swings and roundabouts in this game. Gary says, the thing I like about Jonbon is that he says a bit for himself, and as such should be around for years to come. Do you think that? Maybe he does just...
Maybe.
He's not exuberant, is he? He's more see the stars than Frankel, Jonbon.
Yeah, definitely. I think the better the ground, the more you'll see him at his best, possibly. I don't know, you can't knock him so far.
You caused quite a stir on the YouTube page about, this is from John Green. He says, Paddy said the other week, Cheltenham Gold Cup horses would be competitive in the champion chase. How well would last season's third, Corrick Rambler, go in the 2 mile event? I reckon he'd be approaching the final fence. The champion chase winner is in the winner's enclosure. It was a silly thing to say, but I know what you meant.
Yeah, maybe going back years it was more so, but you are right. Corrick Rambler would have been tailed off in that champion chase.
Yeah. And he says, I still think Vautour won the King George.
Only one winning post, Matt.
Prometheus says... Oh, he says something nice. He says, Fact or Far will go for the Ryanair this year. Following last season's Gold Cup, the 25s I have probably swayed my decision. It's all about the pace. So he's basically saying Fact or Far should go for... Sorry, it's not the best English here. Fact or Far for the Ryanair. And he's got 25s for that. That's a decent bet, isn't it?
Unbelievable bet. It's definitely possible, but it'd be a shame for the Gold Cup if he runs in that.
Yeah. Johnny Boy says, interesting to hear Paddy's thoughts on the tempo of Irish racing. I would always add that British tracks are too fair and not a good preparation for Cheltenham. There was you made a very interesting point for you the other day about the different speed Irish racing to British racing.
Yeah, no, definitely. And, I think it's trying to get into English trainers and riders that you can't be scared to lose and you can't be trying to win a race at the start because you're looking at a very short window for your horse if you're going too quick early.
Last 2 or 3. Miguel Aquino, Q-Card would never have beaten Don Cossack. We all know that. Mark says Chapman's an absolute clown and a human monitor lizard with little knowledge of the game, and Brennan sacked from Wiley, retainer. That was one of our better messages. I can't argue with any of that. Were you sacked by Wiley?
Was I sacked by Wiley? Sacked by Howard Johnson, right?
Okay. We've all been sacked by everyone. David McMahon, that's why do you think we're doing this? David McMahon met David Russell once in Ballybunion in the town after racing.
Lovely town.
Festival.
Lovely town.
Yeah, absolute gentleman, sound out. condolences to him because he lost his dad. Absolutely. And Jordan Clark, Dave Russell, in my opinion, best jockey I've ever seen. Born 1990, so I can only speak about jockeys I've seen since then, but he's definitely one of the best. Quick question for Paddy. We've got to go very quickly. Colin Johnston, how much do you think is the jockey and the horse?
How much is the jockey and the horse? Horse 80%, jockey 20%.
Okay. And the very final one was Paul Coney says, was there ever in the history of racing a jockey that gave up in a race as quickly as Paddy Brennan did? He was a real benevolent place market laying. Well, he's already said he doesn't care about you.
One last question, lads. One last question. Matt, did you see what's back on this week? Dancing on Ice. And you will not be there.
Oh. Well done, lads. You wrongin'. Absolute tosspot.